Hello and welcome to another episode of Cards Unbarred. My name's Ryan, and in this video I'm going to teach you the 2 to 5 player trick-taking game, TRICKTAKERs, the expansion designed by Hirokin. The components in TRICKTAKERs, the expansion consists of 7 new character cards, 5 variant character cards, which were variants from the base game, but they are now the larger size character card instead of the mini 2-player size cards, and 1 promo character. The game also comes with 2 Summoner Summon cards, 1 Alchemist Magic Circle card, 1 Forge Crown / Selection card, 1 Phantom Thief Theft card, 1 Strategist Tactic card, and 5 Strategist Trap cards, the 2-player mini character cards, 1 Collector 3 to 5 player variant card, 6 Summoner Beast cards, 3 Strategist playing cards, 3 Time Traveler prediction cards, and 1 Time Traveler player aid card, 4 Phantom Thief letter cards, 15 Alchemist playing cards, 3 additional variant cards, as well as additional tokens, including point tokens in values 10, 50, and 100, Mogul Reserve Revolt and Soul tokens, 2 Ruler's Rule tokens, 9 Alchemist Element tokens, 2 Time Traveler tokens, 5 Summoner tokens, 1 Phantom Thief token, and 4 Black Crowns. The box itself will come out with cardboard punch-out tokens, as you can see on the screen now. However, there is an upgrade pack available that will turn these components into more deluxeified versions of themselves. However, I do need to point out all components that are included in the expansion box, as well as the upgrade pack in this video, are prototype components and they will be subject to change. So please look at the Kickstarter page as well as the Board Game Geek page to see any changes that would be made. For the rest of the video, I will be using the standard components since that's what will be included in the box itself if you do not get the upgrade pack. I should also mention I will not be going over the rules of the base game. If you want to see how the actual game of TRICKTAKERs works, I have a video for the base game itself that will explain the trick-taking, the scoring, and everything else. I will link that in the description below. As far as this video, it's just going to be going over the new components in the expansion and how those work, as well as the PGC variants that are included in the game. First up is the Strategist. When you pick the Strategist, you will take one of the black 7 cards into your hand and discard any other card. You also take the Tactic card, putting it next to your character card, and take the 6 Trap cards and create the trap deck with them. You will choose the order of these cards, but make sure no other player sees it, so while you're doing them, keep them hidden. And if you're unsure the order to place them in, there is a letter at the very bottom, A, B, C, D, and E, and they tell you to put them in that order with E on the bottom, D above that, C, B, and then A. Of course, you can choose the order if you'd like once you're more familiar with the character, but you'll then place that deck next to your Tactic card, and the other black 7 and rare card just can go off to the side for now. Trick play with this character will be the same as any other character with some few exceptions. The first being you'll flip the top card of the trap deck before anyone plays into the trick. This card is a rule for all the other characters in play. If they ever trigger this trap card, they have to put 10 points from their personal supply next to the trap card. If the strategist ever wins a trick, they will take all points that are next to the trap card and put it in their personal supply. If you do not win a trick at all throughout the round, you will not collect those points in the supply. You must win a trick to gain them. But if you win a trick, you'll gain any, and if in future tricks more points go there, you have to win another trick to gain those supply points. So you want to time it based on when there's a large amount in there if you think you're only going to win 1 or 2 tricks in the hand. Now, the tactics or the traps themselves, you can't play a 1 through a 6 of any suit. Can't play a 7, 8, or 9 of any suit. You must follow suit. If the strategist wins a trick, everyone places 10 points here, and you can't play a black card. Now, the strategist can never be trapped by the trap cards. So if in the very first trick, this gets flipped over and the strategist plays a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, it doesn't matter. They will never put points in the trap. It's only the other players you're concerned about. The tactic card, which is separate from the trap card deck, is a one-time use in that hand for the strategist. They may flip it over to ignore the must-follow rule through the normal trick play. So if somebody leads green and they have that green in their hand, they can play that tactic to play any card in their hand that they would like. Then, depending on how well you do in the round, you'll score points. But one thing to mention, if you take 0 or 1 trick in the round, you can forego scoring points to take a rare or a black 7 card into your hand into the next round, no matter which character you are. If you take 0 tricks, you can get the rare or 50 points. Again, you pick one or the other. So if you take the rare card, you wouldn't score any points. But that means in the next round, whichever character you take, you're going to have this rare card that you're going to put in your hand and discard any other card. If you take 1 trick, you can choose the black 7 or 30 points, following the same rules as I just mentioned for the rare card. Next up is the Summoner. When you select the Summoner, you'll take the following items: the Summoner character card, the 2 summon cards, the 6 beasts, and the 5 magic points. The first thing you'll want to do is take the Summoner character card, put the magic points on the space provided in the middle-ish bottom area, and then take the 2 summon cards and put one to the left and one to the right of the character card itself. You then can take the 6 beast cards. If you'd like to put them in your hand, you can, along with your regular tricks, but it is advised to just keep them below your Summoner character card like this. But if you're limited for table space, you can put them in your hand as well. When playing the Summoner, you will complete 4 steps in the following order: summon, command, play, and send. Steps 1, 2, and 4 are optional, but step 3 is mandatory. The first one is summon. There are 6 beasts available to you, and you can summon 1 or 2 of them. When you summon them, you will take them from the area down below, or again if they're in your hand, and place them on your summon cards. The side left or right doesn't actually matter. So summoning them to an area, there's no, it's not better on the left or right. You choose where you want to summon them. There's also a cost to summoning them, which is shown on the left-hand side of the cards. In this case, it costs 1, and this is magic points. So you would take 1 magic point from your character card and just place it off to the side. If I wanted to summon this one, it would cost me 3. So I would take 3 off of my character card. Again, this entire step is optional. I can choose 1, 2, or 0. Of course, if I already have characters or beasts on my cards summoned already, I can't do anything. I can't summon beasts unless there are empty spaces on here. So I'd have to skip this step. The next one is to command any of your summoned beast. This step, again, is only summoned beasts, so you basically ignore any of the non-summoned beasts. Commanding has an ability at the very bottom of the card. As you can see, it says command here. It might be kind of hard on the camera, but these 4 have command abilities, whereas these 2 have passive abilities. That means these are just always in play when they are summoned. But these 4, you can trigger this command option right now, which in this case, it says discard 1 card, draw 1 card, and it shows 1 cube, which is 1 magic point. So I spend a magic point to discard a card from my hand, and then I would draw a card from the draw deck. You can command as many times as you want, as long as you have the magic points to spend. So if I had 3 magic points, I could discard 1 to discard a card and draw a card. You must complete 1 command before you do the next one. You can't do all 3 at once to discard 3 and draw 3, even though it would benefit you to discard and draw 1 at a time anyways, but just want to point that out. These other 2 beasts are the same thing, discard 1 card and draw 1, but the black one is actually discard X cards and draw X cards, kind of like the gambler. That one you can choose how many cards you want, and then you draw up the same number you discarded, but you only spend 1 token to do so. After you've commanded any beasts, or not, you then must play a card from your hand. So this is the normal part of playing a card into the trick following all normal rules. After you've done this, you may send 1 of your summoned beasts. This is only summoned, so you'd ignore those beasts in this situation. But what you'll do is you'll look at this very top part of the card, which tells you the cost to send that beast. So you'd spend the magic point, and you flip the card over and play it on top of the card you played into the trick. This card now completely covers the bottom one and becomes whatever you played instead. So I played a blue 8, but I then sent my summon beast and turned it into a 10 red. Of course, going over the other beasts, this is a blue 10, this is a green 10, a black 10, then L is a white flag that works like the Hermit, meaning it's a white flag and will lose the trick unless a rare card gets played into the trick, in which case this becomes stronger than that rare card. And lastly, we have Miria, which is like the Berserker in the base game. It acts and works just like the normal Berserker for all of those rules. The important thing to note here, though, is if you play a card that matches the color of the beast you send, you don't have to pay the send cost. So here we had to pay 1 magic point to send Maru onto the blue card because it was blue, not red. But if we played a blue card into the trick, this is free to send. We wouldn't have actually had to spend that magic point. And these two are based off of white flags and rare cards. So if I play a white flag into the trick, I can do that without having to spend its send cost, as well as a rare card. They both work for those two, but these 4 are specific to the suits of that beast itself. Whenever you win a trick with a summoner, you will gain back 1 magic point. Otherwise, you typically don't have access to gaining more magic points, because the other way is if you have L on your summon board, a passive ability is gain 1 magic point at the end of every turn. And then the last one to go over the passive ability here for Miria is 1s are no longer stronger than 10s. So all of that rules that apply from the Berserker and the base game video where the 1s can beat out the 10s, if you have Miria summoned on your board here, that passive ability triggers. Which means you could play a 10 beast of some other card, and if somebody plays a 1 of that matching suit, if this is here, that 1 won't be stronger. This also applies to all players at the table. So if there's another player that plays a 10 into the trick, if Miria is out, that person's 10 cannot be beaten by another player's 1 of the matching suit. And now we have the Alchemist. When you take the Alchemist, you'll take the following components: the character card, the magic circle card, which is double-sided. If you're playing 2 players, make sure you have the side that has the 2-player part denoted in the top corner. If you're playing 3 to 5 players, it won't have that. There are also 9 element tokens, the Alchemist's Forged Crown with a gold crown and 2 black crowns, and then 15 Alchemist cards. When you take this character, put the 2 black crowns and the gold crown on top of the card, and this you actually do as part of setup if the character is in the game. If you ever have the Alchemist, whether any player takes him or not, you still need to set this up if that character will be included in the game as a possibility. This card can then go off to the side with the round card, just off as a reminder that Forged Crowns can be gained that way. Then you'll take the Alchemist character card, magic circle, and element cards, keep them together, and take the 15 Alchemist playing cards, which are the green, blue, and red suits, numbered 1 to 5 in each of those, and they have purple on the back of them. You'll shuffle them together, deal yourself 6 of these cards, and put the remaining cards off to the side as a face-down draw pile to draw from through tricks. When you are playing the Alchemist, you don't care so much about winning tricks as you do about completing this magic circle with the elements here. Winning a trick can get you an element, but there are other ways to gain elements even if you don't win a trick. They are all listed on here, which I will go over as well. However, when playing as the Alchemist, you're also playing into the tricks a little bit weirder than everybody else. When it comes time to playing tricks, though, it's a little bit weirder with the Alchemist. They actually play 3 cards from their hand instead of the usual 1. So let's say a player would lead with a blue 4. When it comes to the Alchemist turn looking at their hand, they must play 3 cards from their 6-card hand. However, there are some limitations to it based on what the lead suit was. If you have 1 or more cards of the lead suit in your hand, you must play at least 1 of them. So in this case, blue was led and they have 1 blue card, so they must play that. But as far as the other 2 cards, they can play whatever they want. If they had another blue card, let's say they have this 2 in here and they didn't have that, they only need to play at least 1, but they can play 2 if they wanted, but they could choose to play something else instead. After they play their 3 cards, they will immediately consult their chart to see if they will gain any of the elements. The first one is looking to see, is your final value the same as the lead card? They played a 4. What you need to do is add up all the cards, 1 plus 2 plus 3, and see, does that equal 4? In this case, no, 6 does not equal 4, so they don't gain an element for that. We check for 3 of a kind, so having 3 of the same number, in this case they don't. Do they have a flush? 3 of the same color? No. Do they have a straight? Yes. 1, 2, 3. That is 3 numbers with consecutive values, so they would gain 1 element. There are 9 elements, 3 that are purple, 3 are pink, 1 blue, 1 green, and 1 red. As far as which element you can gain, it's always any element that you want. There isn't a specific correlation to 1 equaling a certain element. But where the elements get placed on the board will dictate how you score at the end of the hand. So they're going to choose one of the pink elements and place it down here. Again, they could choose those spots. It doesn't matter. Right now, it's just taking a pink element. Now, the final way you can gain an element is by winning the trick. After everyone's played cards into the trick, you'll then evaluate, did you actually win the trick? If you did, then you'd be able to gain another element at that point. So let's finish going over how this resolves and how these cards work. Because again, when you were following, you had to play at least 1 card of lead suit. But the important thing here is that after you play your 3 cards, you are always considered to be following lead suit, no matter what cards you play. So even if they had, let's say their hand looked like this, let's grab non-blue. If they had these 6 cards, they don't have blue, they can play anything they want. Maybe they go with this 3, 4, 5. And quickly going over, would they gain any elements? Yes, they have a flush because that's 3 of the same color, so they gain an element. They also have a 3 straight for 3 consecutive values. That would get them another element they would place on their board immediately. Adding up their values, 9 plus 3 is 12. Anytime you have a value of 11 or more, you only ever count the ones digit. So 12 becomes 2 for the purposes of card play for what your final value is and if it's matching. So I've played a 2 blue because remember, you always match lead suit. Even though these are green, you will always be matching blue. So I've played a blue 2. If you're ever leading the trick, you will decide what lead suit is if you play multiple colors. If you play these 3 cards, it's going to be green because there's only green in the trick. But if you were to play something like this, you decide red or green, which one you want to be lead suit for other players. And if you manage to play all 3 colors, red, blue, and green, you can either choose one of those 3 colors, or you can actually say this is black. Now, there are some funky characters in this expansion and even the base game that can cause you to gain different cards. If you ever have a black card in your hand, it is considered to not have any color. So if you play it, you ignore it, it's just a blank color, you'd still be able to get 3 straight here, but you wouldn't be able to do anything like if you had this here. This would not be a flush because that's a no color. You can't make it any kind of color that you'd like. And if you're ever given rare cards or white flags, these are considered colorless cards of a value 0. Now, after all the tricks have been played, you will be looking at your element or magic circle to see if you completed any of the appropriate patterns to score points. They're all shown down here, but just to go over them a little bit more in detail, if you had all 3 pinks, you would gain 10 points. If you have all 3 purples, you would also score 10 points. Of course, if you have both, you'll get 20 points, 10 for each. If you manage to get the straight across lines, pink, green, pink, that's 30. And if you get purple, blue, purple, that's also 30. And then a straight line down the middle, you guessed it, is worth 80 points. Now, those are just how you gain points. Let's go into the big part about the Alchemist, which is this forging crowns. And the only way you can gain the crowns on the forged crown card is by doing these steps here. If you have created both the pink and purple on your board, making a full circle around the outside, you can forge a crown. Depending on the type of crown determines what it costs. If you're trying to forge a black crown, you must spend 50 points in your personal supply times the round you're in. So round 1 is 50 times 1, round 2 is 50 times 2, round 3 is 50 times 3. If you want to get the gold crown, you actually have to spend a black crown that you already have. Now, the Alchemist in this way can actually gain 2 black crowns in a round because they could take 0 tricks, gaining a black crown as normal by being eligible for 1 for winning 0, and then forging a black crown off of the card if they've done that as well. And that is also a way you can forge a gold crown in a round, because if you earn a black crown in a round, you gain those first before you forge. So if you took 0 tricks in a round, gained a black crown, you can then spend that black crown to forge the gold crown. Your choice, but again, you can only ever forge 1 crown in a single round. Next up, we have the Time Traveler. Now, the Time Traveler is going to be the most complicated character, so I'm probably going to spend the most time trying to explain them. But when you select the Time Traveler, you will take the following components: the character card, the Gold Crown Prediction card, the 2 Black Crown Prediction cards, the Change the Past and Rewind Player Aid card, the 2 Time Traveler tokens, and then make sure you have the 2 player cards nearby. You only ever actually need the character cards that match the characters in that specific round. So if you're playing the Time Traveler, and let's say you're in a 4-player game, you have the Samurai, the King, and the Berserker, you can put the rest of them off to the side. You only will need these ones. Now, at the beginning of the round, after everyone's taken their character and done their setup, you will make a secret prediction on who you think is going to win the gold crown and who's going to gain the 2 of the black crowns. Now, when you do this, you must make all 3 predictions. You can't do 0, 1, or 2. You must predict everything, and a character can only be under 1 prediction. So what you'll do is you will have to do this secretly. So you need to take the cards and then choose this guy. Pick one of those to put underneath, keeping it tucked under there, taking these 2 and doing the same thing. You'll notice you can pick yourself for one of the crowns and then do that. And any of the ones you have left over, to make sure it's hidden from the other ones, just put them under the stack of the rest of the ones that were unused. Now, I'm trying to avoid any of the upgrade pack components in this video because I only want to show off the stuff in the base game if you don't have the upgrade pack. But I will mention that I think this is one of the best usability differences with the upgrade pack. The Time Traveler has these dials. When you're doing this step, instead of having to use all these very fiddly cards that can sometimes pop out or trying to hide and keep secret from other players, what you do is you just use this dial and you rotate it to who you want, and then you just put it face down. You do that for both of the black crowns and then the gold crown, and then at the end of the round, you just flip them over and reveal. But I will digress on that, since again, that is from the upgrade pack, and I don't want to force anyone into the upgrade pack. I just think for this character, it's a lot more useful than these, but this is still doable and can work as originally intended from the Japanese version. Now, after you made these predictions, you'll just keep them off to the side, and again, you can check these at any time yourself, just try to keep them hidden from the other players. But you will then put your 2 Time Traveler tokens on the space denoted on your character card. And then trick play for you is relatively the same as the normal base game is, but you have these abilities available to you, which make the Time Traveler help with the predictions they made during the round. The first ability, which is Rewind, can only be done on your turn. So if somebody plays a card, maybe someone leads a rare card, and you're upset that that was led and you don't like that, when it's your turn, you can then spend one of your tokens to trigger the Rewind ability. And what this does is it makes all cards played by everyone in the trick so far return back to their hand. You will then draw 2 cards from the draw pile, then discard 2 cards, and then choose a new lead player. It can be the person who just led, but probably want to pick someone else. It can be yourself, anybody that you want. You, of course, only have 2 tokens, so you can only trigger these abilities at most 2 times in the round. Once you spend the token, it goes off of the character card, so you can, again, only do that twice. And just to hammer that home, Rewind can only be done on your turn. So if somebody plays 6, and then you play this 9, and then the last person plays a rare card, you can't then rewind it at this point because your turn's already passed. You do it before you play a card into the trick. But the other ability you have available is Change the Past. This one has quite a few steps to it, so we'll try to go through it piece by piece. But this one you do when you win the trick. So let's say, for example, it looked like this, and you had played that rare card. Instead of collecting all the cards and putting them in a face-down pile like normal, you spend your token, and you take all cards that are in the trick and put them into your hand. You then add it to all of the cards that are in your hand, and then between all the cards in your hand, you will give one card to every other player at the table. And this is where some crazy stuff can happen, because you can give character cards to other characters. So say you were playing with the Alchemist and the Summoner, and you win that trick, you would change the past and take all of these cards into your hand, and then you would be able to give cards back to the other players. So you could give the Summoner an Alchemist card and the Alchemist a Summoner card. And at the end of the hand, for every prediction you're correct on, you will gain 50 points. If you are incorrect on any prediction, you don't lose any points. If it's round 3, you can actually publicly predict things. So show everybody at the table what you're bidding. And if you are correct, you immediately win the game. Next up is the Phantom Thief. When playing with them, you will take the character card, the theft token, the theft card, and the 4 letters. During setup, you will hand each player one of the letter cards. 3 of them are notices, which is telling you you're going to be taking something from them, as you are a thief. These are face up, so you can give them to a player face down, but after they take it, these will all be revealed by all players. Everyone knows publicly what you're trying to take from somebody. You can take a gold crown, a black crown, or 30 points. You also have this invitation letter, which is inviting another player to be your partner. There are a few things when you pick someone as your partner, but of course you're not taking anything from them to start as far as the notices go, but there is a way to actually backstab your partner. But the next thing you'll do is take your theft token and place it on the card, noting this card is different based on player count. There's a 2-player side which has the -1, +1, and then the 3 to 5 player side with a 0 and a +/-1. You will place the token on either the 0 or the +/-1 space at the beginning of the hand. You must choose this, and again you'll be giving out these letters to other players. What this card is telling you is the difference of the number of tricks between the other players. If you're over here, you want to be +1 or -1 of a trick difference between the other players to take the thing from them. So if you have 2 tricks and another player has 1 trick, that is a difference of + or -1. You will be able to take whatever the thing is from them. So if you had, I'm coming for your gold crown, they took 2 tricks, you took 1, that's a difference of 1, you would be able to take their gold crown. If this player had a black crown and they took 0 tricks and you took 1, that is a difference of 1, you would take their black crown. And this is where gaining things comes first before you resolve this card. These players, like let's say they had a majority of the tricks and actually gained the gold crown that round, you would be taking it from them before they actually truly gain it. So that's another important thing. If that was this player's 2nd gold crown, normally they would win the game, but because the Phantom Thief took the crown from them before they officially had it in their control, they don't win the game. Same would apply if this was their 3rd black crown and they took it from them at that point. Of course, the other one is just taking 30 points from that player. If they don't have 30 points to take, you just take as many as you can. And then you have the partner card. If you have a partner during the round, the first thing you can do is actually exchange cards with them. On your turn, every trick, you can take 1 card from your hand, pass it to your partner, they then look at it, and either decide to take it into their hand and pass you a different card, or discard the card they passed you, and then you will just draw a card from the top of the draw deck. Either way, you're getting a new card. You're never getting the card that you passed to them. It's whether or not they take it and give you something different, or make you draw from the draw pile. Now, the other thing that can happen with a partner is if your token is flipped to this side, it's actually betraying your partner. And the way you'll do this is whenever you win a trick, you can decide to move this token to the other side, changing your trick difference based on other players you might want to take from them. Or you can flip the token from its other side. You can't do both. So if it was here and you wanted to flip it, it stays in that position. You can't move and flip on the same trick. You'd have to win another trick. First trick, move. Second trick would flip. If at the end of the round you have it on this wolf side, it means you're betraying your partner and you take 1 thing from them, black crown, gold crown, or 30 points. Your choice, but you only choose one of the following. You can't take all three. Now, there are some other things with the Phantom Thief as far as end of round scoring goes. They have a couple of weird things. If they take 0 tricks, they will gain 0 points and they do not gain a black crown. The way you gain a black crown is by winning 1 trick. You will lose 20 points, but you do get a black crown. But the reason why this is because when you win a trick, it allows you to manipulate this token, making it so that you're more likely to take things from other players. So if you choose to do nothing with this character and win 0 tricks, you're not going to be able to manipulate this at all, which means you still might luck into it, but you don't get a black crown for taking 0 tricks. You'd have to take 1 trick instead. If you take 2 tricks, your partner will actually score 50 points. So there is a way you can have your partner still benefit from you. Instead of just betraying them, you can actually have them help you out, pass them cards, knowing if you win 2 tricks, they're going to get 50 points from it. Now, of course, you can betray them. If you win 2 tricks, they'll take 50, but then you can also take 30 of those 50 points from them. Now we're coming up on the second to last expansion character, and that's the Ninja. The Ninja just lets you play 2 cards into a trick. The first card will go face up. The second card goes face down. The second card is optional. You do not have to play a second card into the trick, but if you do, you will then draw 1 card from the draw deck to replenish your hand to be at the appropriate number of cards as everybody else. After everyone else has played a card into the trick, or 3 if you're the Alchemist or anything else crazy going on, you can reveal this card, flipping it face up, and now it acts as a second card in the trick. You don't combine these cards. These are 2 separate cards for the purposes of trick play. It just gives the Ninja 2 options to win the trick, with one of them being secret from everybody else. Now, the thing is, all these cards are still subject to the normal must-follow rules. So if somebody leads red, that card would have to be red. But of course, if you only have 1 red card in your hand, you could play it face up first, which would then let you play any card you want face down. And always, you can play white flags and rare cards at any time, so you could always play those face down if you wanted. If you do play a second card, you do not have to reveal it. So if this card was going to lose the trick, maybe you don't want to give information to other players about what suit that was, you can choose to keep it face down and it just gets discarded without anybody seeing it. If it is the 5th trick, you will only have 1 card left in your hand. You'll play that face up, and if you want to play a second card, you just take the top card from the draw deck. You can look at it. In this case, it's a rare, and then you would play that face down as normal. At the end of the round, if you take 0 tricks with the Ninja, you will not be eligible for a black crown, but you will gain 70 points. If you take 1 trick, you're going to lose 20 points, but then if you take 2 tricks, you get 70, and that's when you're actually eligible for a black crown, but you cannot gain the gold crown if you have the majority as well. You'd have to get 3 or 4 to actually be able to get the gold crown, but then you're not getting the black crown. And lastly, we have the Samurai. When you take the Samurai, the first thing you do is look to see if you have any black cards in your hand. If you do, you must immediately discard all of them and draw back from the draw deck until you no longer have black cards. If you draw black cards from there, you must immediately discard them and you continue to draw until you never have black cards in your hand. If you are ever to gain a black card at any point throughout the round as well, maybe the time traveler gave you one or something else crazy happened where you gained a black card, you must immediately discard it and draw from the draw deck, making sure you don't have any black cards in your hand. The other thing is, the Samurai is all about the red cards. The red acts as the black suit for them for trick resolution and nobody else. But it is still a red card for purposes of must follow. So if the Samurai was leading a trick and they played the 6 red, everybody else must play red, but this will act as the black trump suit during trick resolution. So if somebody else played a 9 red and then the other player played these, normally this player would win with the 9 red, but for the Samurai, this would actually act as a black 6, so they would be winning the trick instead. On top of that, whenever you win a trick, you can take 1 red card that was played into the trick that's not your own and put it into your hand and then discard any other card from your hand. So ideally, you have red cards in the start of your hand and then you can lead them, forcing other players to play red cards into the trick. You then win it And then you take those other red cards that players played, allowing yourself to be able to play them to hopefully keep winning with the red suit. Now, the other thing to mention is if a white flag is ever played into a trick, that entire ability is nullified. Your red card just becomes a normal red card. So if you play the 6, that person plays the 9, yours would be winning, but as soon as a white flag gets played, this reverts back to a normal red, and then this red is currently winning instead. Now, there are a handful of variants that are included in this expansion as well. The first one are these 5 variant character cards. However, these are actually the variants from the base game, with the exception of the new collector variant, which I'll explain shortly. But these 4 used to be the mini cards in the base game. We have replaced them with the larger character size card. So if you do want to have the larger card for people, you can use these instead of using the small ones. But going over the new collector variant, when playing with this one, which can only be used in a 3 to 5 player game, you will take the special collector rare card into your hand and discard any other card. The using of the collector and placing your reserve token and everything else works exactly the same. You just have different combination options available to you, and you are also eligible to gain a gold crown and a black crown. And the last character included in the game is actually a promo character known as the Mogul. This character was actually designed by myself with the approval of Hirokin to be included in the game as a PGC, a Portland Game Collective promotion card. It will be included in every expansion box, but this character is more of a love letter to the game than an actual balanced character. So I am going to explain this character here in detail, but know that you should not use this character until every player who is playing the game has played the base game and the expansion multiple times and is very familiar with how every single character works. The Mogul itself is essentially a pseudo mini character of every character that exists in the game. They will have access to sort of smaller abilities of all the other characters in play. So if you're playing as the Mogul, and then there's the Berserker, the Time Traveler, and the King in the game with you in that round, you will have their abilities available to you in some fashion. So if you are not aware of how all of those characters work, it can make this character very difficult to understand how to play. But when you take this character, you will take the character card, the spending spree card, and then the Mogul reminder card. Now, this is double-sided as well to explain how the purchase action will happen at the end of the round, which I'll go over shortly. But you will also take the double-sided reserve and revolt token, and then these 5 sold tokens, which you'll just place near the reminder card. Next, you need to gain your payday points. If you're playing a 3-player game, it will be 100, and if you're playing a 4 or 5-player game, it will be 200. You then place all of those points down here where it says place payday points here. Make sure to keep all payday points completely separate from your personal points. These are not your points. These are points you can spend throughout the round, but they are not in your personal supply. They are in your payday supply. Throughout the round, you'll be spending these points and you'll be giving them to other players. If there are any points that are left over in the payday area, you will then split those to the other players as evenly as possible, with any remainder going back to the common supply. Now, when it is your turn during the trick play, before you play a card, you will look at the list of your spending spree options, and you can buy up to 2 abilities that are listed on the card, and again, match characters in play. So if the King was in the round, you could come to your board here and see the King says you can spend 40 payday points. So you would take 40 of those points, give them to the player that is the King, and then trigger that ability, which is your played card becomes a rare card. So play anything you want, and it's now a rare card. And as mentioned, you can do up to 2 abilities on your turn. So if there was another ability you wanted to do first, you could trigger that beforehand. Now, some abilities can only be done once per round, though. Even if you have the money to afford it, if it has a little asterisk next to it, it can only be done once per round, which is what this reminder card is for. You would then take this sold token and place it on the matching space. So this case, King, it says played card equals rare. You would cover that up with the sold token to remind you you've already done that this round and you can't do it again. I will not go over every single ability as it is explained in detail on the spending spree card, as well as in more detail on the rulebook. But if you're familiar with the character it's based upon, it's basically doing the ability from that character in some fashion. At the end of the round, you'll flip the spending spree card over, and now the Mogul can actually purchase gold or black crowns from the round. You may purchase 1 gold crown and or 1 black crown in a round. However, it can only be crowns that have been returned back to the box. So for example, this is round 1 and 2 players tied for a majority for the gold crown. Nobody earns it and it's returned back to the box. You as the Mogul can actually purchase that crown now. Depending on the round you're in will tell you how much it costs. You also have to take the appropriate number of tricks to even be eligible to take that type of crown. If you win 1 trick, you can buy a gold crown. If you win 2 tricks, buy a black crown. 3 tricks, gold crown. 4 is either a gold and or black, and 5 is a gold and or black. You'll also get a lot of points, which can hopefully help you afford that spending spree. But it'll also tell you how much it costs on the purchase card for the gold crown and for the black crown. These points, again, come from your personal supply, not from the spending spree. These would already have been divvied out to players. If you didn't spend them during the round, they would be passed at the end of the round. Any remainder would go into that common supply. So these are all the points from your own, but you can use the points you gained in that round to purchase them if you have the ability to do so. And I should also point out, you can never gain a gold crown in a round all on your own. So let's say you win 3 tricks and you have the majority of tricks in that round. You don't automatically gain the gold crown like normal. It would be removed from the game because you're not eligible to gain it, so nobody gets it. It's returned back to the box. But because 3 tricks allows you to buy the gold crown, you would then be able to buy it following the normal purchasing process. You're going to get 120 points. Hopefully it's enough to be able to buy that gold crown. There are a few other variants including larger hands, smaller deck, and oops all points, but I will leave those for you to discover in the rulebook itself as they are pretty straightforward on how they work. The next one I will go over though is the team play, as this can be done with 4 players only, and you're actually playing in a fixed partnership of 2 players versus the other 2 players. When playing this variant, you will make sure players are sitting diagonally across from each other, and you will place the 4th round card next to the regular round card because this game now includes a 4th round. You will add a gold crown and 2 black crowns on the 4th round card as well. To win the game, you now have an additional crown required between your team to win. As you can see on the screen here, any player can win by their character's win condition. The team wins together. But if your team has 3 gold crowns between the 2 of you, you'd win instead of 2 gold crowns. Or if you have 4 black crowns between the 2 of you. And if neither team has those, then it's the most points between the both players on the same team would win the game. There are some additional rules to the team play, which I will put on the screen here if you want to pause and take the time to read over them. But the main one to focus on is the once per round when you win a trick, you may allow your partner to win it instead. Players may discuss this verbally if they think that they should win it or their partner should win it. And when this happens, your partner is considered to have played the card you played instead of your own, which can matter for certain characters based on things that they play. And this choice is once per player per round, not once per team. So if player A wins the trick, but has player C, their teammate, win it, player A has used that ability, but player C can still use that ability in a future trick if they would win. The last variant to go over is the experimental ruler variant. This is for 3 to 5 players only, and all of the rules are listed on the back of the rulebook. You will need that along with the ruler's rule card and the 2 ruler's rule tokens. When you select the ruler, you will select 2 of these rules to be in place for the round. That is what this reminder card is here for. You can place the tokens on here so everybody can remember which 2 you've taken. You can even put them to the sides if you want to really be able to read what it is. And then you'll refer to the rules on the back of the rulebook as far as what they do. Now, these are very zany and very crazy. That is why they're the experimental ruler. So know when playing with this, things can get pretty crazy pretty fast in an already pretty crazy game. I'm not going to go over every one of these in detail, since again, they are pretty straightforward and they are all listed on there. The last things to go over are the milestones, which can be found near the end of the rulebook. And these are available for all of the characters, and any player can complete these at any time. Now, the way the milestones will work, at the end of a round, you can refer to the milestone section for the character you played as to see if you triggered whatever the text is in bold. For example, when playing as the king, if you gain a gold crown, you would check off that first box. If you have done this 4 times, and this can be any player among any games throughout your copy of the game, as soon as it's done the 4th time, you'll reach that first number 1 space. You will then check off the number 1 ability under the king itself. You've now unlocked that ability for the king for all players through future plays of your game. Of course, all milestone abilities that are unlocked should be agreed upon and understood by all players when playing. But know when you get to another ability, if let's say you check all the way off to the 2 box, you now have the 1 and 2 ability available for the king. Now, if you don't want to mark your actual rulebook, we will be posting a file for this on the Board Game Geek page under the files section. I will also put a link for that in the video description below. Otherwise, that's everything you need to know to play the Tricktakers expansion. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching.